Welcome to video lesson 2 of Microsoft Excel. In the first video lesson, we learned how to work with worksheets. We learned how to feed data into our Excel system. We learned how to perform calculations. And in this video lesson, we are going to go deeper, and specifically we are going to be looking at functions. I'm going to show you the different functions that you can find in Excel and how to use those functions to do a number of data analysis or calculations. So let's just dive in. All right. Excel has what you call functions, and like I mentioned in the previous lesson, functions are inbuilt formulas. And these formulas, they help you to analyze your data and perform any calculation of your choice. While there are many categories of function in Excel, at this level, in this package, we are going to focus at 3 of them. But before we do that, let me show you the different categories of Excel function. So where do you access the function? You go to formulas menu, so click formula menu, and this is where you find all different categories of function. We have what we call financial function, as you can see here, and all these are financial functions, and financial function enable you to calculate to perform calculations related to financial transactions. Let's say, for example, if you take a loan, for instance, and you want to know the amount of interest that you're going to be paying every single month, or every single basically every single month for a certain period of time. The way you calculate that is you can pull a function from the financial function category, and then you'll be able to do that. And then you have what you call logical functions, and these are the logical functions that we have. We have and, false, if error, not, or true, and we're gonna be covering some of this. And then we have what we call statistical function. So let's go to more function, and here we have statistical function. And statistical function contain or hold functions that are used when you're performing statistical analysis, like average, mean, minimum, mode, and all that. And then we have the fifth category of function, the fourth category of function, and that is engineering functions. We use this engineering function when we are performing engineering calculations, right? And then we have what you call math trigonometric function, this one here, and these are math trigonometric function like sine, tan, cosine. It's also whereby it's actually where you find multiplication. It's where you find additions. All these are in the category of math trigonometric function. As you can see, this LCM, this the log to 10, these GCD, all these we have quite a number of them here. We have power, quotient, radians, all that. So those are what we are calling maths and trigonometric function category. So far we've looked at 5 categories of function. Number 1, financial function, which you can find all those functions here. You go to financial function category, you have all these financial functions. And then number 2, we have logical functions. It's the second category of function. Then you can see all these functions here. And then number 3, we have statistical function, which you can get it at more. And then here are statistical function. All this is a list of statistical function. We use it when you're analyzing data, specifically when we are carrying out our research and we want to analyze the data we've collected from research. And then we have engineering function, the fourth category. And engineering function, we use them when we're performing engineering calculations. And then the fifth category is maths and trigonometric function, and we use this one when we are carrying out calculations like product, power, LCM, GCD, log to 10, all that, cosine, sine, tan. Those are mathematical maths trigonometric function. Of course, we do have other types of function like date and time, but we are not going to dive into that in this package. The level of computer application packages, we don't dive into that complex stuff, right? So now, among the 5 functions, categories of functions that I've just shown you, we are going to focus on just 3 of them, and that is statistical function. And these are the kind of calculations that you're going to be required to perform almost on a daily basis. So we want to focus on those things that you almost do every day in every day-to-day business, so that you are able to use Excel to do anything that you want to do in your day-to-day operations. You're good to focus on maths trigonometric function. We are going to be focusing on statistical function, and then you're going to focus on logical functions. Okay, so those are the functions that you're going to focus on this level. Having said that, let's get started. Now, I want to delete this information that's right here. So I highlight it, and then I can just press delete on the keyboard, and that data is gone. So what we want to do right now is that I want to get all this data that is in this cell and have a copy of the same data in another cell, and then we are going to work on that other data rather than creating another worksheet with data like this one. To just create a copy of this worksheet and then use that other copy to perform other kind of calculations. So currently this is a worksheet cut marks. Allow me to delete this cut marks 2 so that you can create a copy and call it cut marks 2. So I'm going to click that. I right click and then I delete. I click delete. So I'm going to need to have a copy of cut marks so that we can work on that copy and retain this original copy. So we learned how to create a copy. You right click, you go to move and copy, you click create copy, and then you click OK. What happens now is I have my cut marks here, and when you go to the copy of this worksheet which we just created, which is cut marks 2, I have the same data. And so we are going to operate with this new data in our new worksheet. That's the importance of learning how to create a copy. Okay, rather than enter the data again, we just made a copy. We have our data here and we can start working on it. So what we are going to do at this moment is I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete the information that is here. Let's delete those calculations. Let's all delete those calculations. Sorry. Great. Right. So now what we're going to do at this moment is that I want to show you how to use the inbuilt functions to perform calculations. And you're going to start with the maths and trigonometric function. That is where you find sum. You're also going to find LCM, GCD, power. You're going to find product, and we want to use those ones to work on our data. So what we're going to have here is we're going to type sum. It's basically the function that gives us total performance for the student. And then at this point we can have let's see, we can, all right, let's first do the sum. So you click where you want your answer. This is the procedure. You click where you want to put your answer, and then you go to formulas, and then you go to maths and trigonometric. You click there. All these are different functions under maths trigonometric function. So all you need to do is you scroll, and we are looking for sum. We know the function sum will add up. Notice they are arranged in alphabetical order, so we are looking for S. S is down here. You pick sum. There you are. So once you click sum, this is what you get. You get what you call a function dialog box argument. The name of the function is sum. Now we have this option here that is called number one, number two. Now what the Excel system want is the range of cells that have the data which you want to add up. So you click there and you delete what is there using the backspace, and then you select the range. We want to perform calculation from here all the way to here. So you click at the beginning of the range, you hold down the left mouse button, and then you drag. So just selected the range of cells that contain the data we want to manipulate or calculate or analyze. Then you release your left mouse button. That range will be entered here. Once this is entered there, all you need to do is you click OK. The calculation will be done. Click OK. There you go. It's that simple. Again, activate the cell where you want to put your answer, and then after that you go to formulas menu, then you go to maths and trigonometric function, and then look for sum. So you scroll down. Remember, they are arranged in alphabetical order. Here is your sum. You click sum. You get this function dialog box. Highlight. I want to calculate from here all the way up to that point, and then you just click OK. That's how you do it. And like I showed you in the previous lesson, you can always drag and finish up the rest. So I just click the answer. I position my mouse pointer at the right bottom corner. I want to autofill. You click and then you drag down holding the left mouse button, and the rest of the calculations are done. So when I click the answer, I'll be able to view the formula right here. And what you notice is our formula looks like the one that we used in the previous lesson. That is how you do calculation. Specifically, that is how you add up using inbuilt function. Now, what if I wanted to multiply two numbers? Can I still use function to be able to do that? Of course you can do that. And the way you do that is, I can pick where I want my answer to be. Let's say I want to put the answer there. Let's say I want to multiply 64 and 78. Just picking random numbers. Let's assume I want to multiply 64 and 78. So what do? You pick where you want your answer. Then of course product, we know that's a function that does that multiplication. It's called product, and it's under maths trigonometric function. So you click there, and then you're looking for P, product. So we're looking for P, which is going to give us a product, and is a product. So I click product, and now I'm required to show the numbers that I want to multiply. Now if the numbers are 2 and they are separate, they are not within a given cell range. For instance, if you want 78 times 64, there's no way you can select a range from 64 all the way to 78. It is going to cover other numbers that are not part of what you wanted to manipulate. So in such a case, where we have number 1 here, you just click the 64, and then you click number 2, all right, and then you go and click 78. All right, so if the numbers are separate, it's not a range, it's numbers that you're picking from different cells. Then you can just click, enter the first number here, or number 1, enter the second number here, and if you have a third number, you can still do the same. You go to number 3, then you go and select where that other value, right, or numeric number is. In our case, you just want to multiply these two numbers. So once you enter the two numbers, you click OK. There you go. This is your answer. When you click it, it will tell you this answer was a result of equal sign product, this function here. You can see the function and the formula up here. It was D7 comma G3, meaning you took D7, which was 64, and you multiplied with G3, which was 78. And that is how you perform calculations with regards to product. Now, let's assume we wanted least common multiple. Okay, you have a list of numbers, and out of these numbers you are looking for least common multiple, or what you call LCM. Let's say, for instance, if I type LCM there, all right, and let's say I want to look for LCM of these numbers from 70 all the way to 78. Assume for a minute that these are not marks, they are just numbers, and you want to look for the least common multiple. So we're going to use the LCM function. Let's assume we want to put the answer there. So you activate that cell, and then you go to Maths Trigonometry, and then you're looking for LCM. Remember, they are arranged in alphabetical order. So we are looking for LCM. And then what are the numbers? Since it's arranged, we want that number across all these numbers up to that point. And then you click OK. And that is the LCM. Now, of course, you can pick different numbers if the numbers are different, scattered on your cell. If it's not arranged, you can do the same. So let's say I click there. That is where I want my answer. I go to Maths Trigonometry. I am looking for LCM. And I'm looking for LCM of 3 numbers, maybe 82. So I click 82. Then I come here and click number. Since not arranged, it's specific numbers, so I have to enter the numbers one at a time. So I click number 2, and maybe let's say the other number is 74, and then I can click number 3, and let's say the other number is 95. Okay, so I want to look for the least common multiple of these 4 numbers, and then I click OK, and there you go. You can also do GCD, greatest common divisor. You can pick random numbers from anywhere and then use the function GCD to be able to get your greatest common divisor. Let's do that. Let's say we want our answer here, and so we go to Maths Trigonometry, and we are looking for GCD. Remember, they are arranged in alphabetical order, so looking for G. Here it is. So click GCD. So we want GCD for this greatest common divisor for 82. Then I click here, number 2. We want 82 and let's say 48. Let's click number 3 and another number like 64. So we want to know the greatest common divisor of those 2 or of those 3, and then you click OK. By the way, it already gives you the answer here, and it's even Excel will even label or show or indicate for you what this function does. It returns the greatest common divisor. So you click OK, and there you are. The greatest common divisor of those 3 numbers is 2. So that is how you use maths and trigonometric function. So we want to use another one. We've already dealt with the sum, LCM, GCD. What if you are looking for a power of a number? Let's say maybe I want to know 50 to power 4, right? 50 to power 4. How do you do that? First of all, let's just type the 50 here. Let's say I have 50 and I want to know 50 to power 4. What do I get? And let's say I want my answer here, so I click where I want the answer, and then you go to maths and trigonometry. Then you come down here and you scroll until you see power P. They are arranged in alphabetical order, so here is P. You click P. So once you click power, this is the function. Now notice here and pay close attention. Number, this is where you enter the value or the cell that holds the value you are looking for, its power. In this case it's 50, so I'm going to click 50, and it's right there. You can even just enter G12, the cell that holds the value, and then power. Here you enter to power what? Okay, it's what we call exponential. So 50, let's say 50 to power 4. If it's to power 4, you just type in 4. That's all, and then you click OK, and you're going to get your answer. So 50 to power 4, this is what you get. Let's do one more. Let's say we want 64 to power 3. What do you get? You can even write the 64 there. Let's write 64. All right, and we want to place the answer here. We are looking for power of 64, actually 64 to power 3. We want the answer to be there. We activate that cell, and then you go to maths and trigonometry, and then you are looking for power, so we scroll looking for P. Scroll looking for P. This is P, power. You click power, and it's 64, so then value should be entered right here. Let me put this one up here so you can see it. Great, so the value should be entered right here. So we want the value 64. I click the cell, it automatically enters the value there. Then power, I click where we have power. That's where you enter the power that you want. So we want 64 to power 3, so just type in 3, right, and then I click OK, and that is it. So those are some of the maths trigonometric function. Remember, there are many. We're just tackling a few. You cannot tackle everything, especially at this level. All you need to know is to be able to do the basic calculations that you might come across in your day-to-day operations. Now, something else, another function, product. What happens if you want to get two numbers and you multiply them together, and you want to use a function? You use a function that's called product. That's a function name. So we want to multiply two numbers. Let's say we want to multiply something like 90 and a number like 12. Okay, you want to know 8 times 12, what do you get? Let's say we want our answer here. You can click where you want your answer, and then you go to formulas, you go to maths trigonometric function, and then you scroll here until you see product. Again, this is P, so you're looking for product, and this is product. You just click product. Now at this point you need to enter the two numbers that you multiply. So for number 1, I am multiplying this 90, then I go to number 2, I click there, then I'm multiplying 12, and then you click OK, and there you go. So when you multiply 19 times 12, you get 108. See how it's easy to use functions to be able to perform calculations very fast? That is how you do it. So we've just looked at maths and trigonometric function. While there are so many functions here that you can all use, we are not going to cover all of this, and you actually don't need to be able to use all of them, especially at this level. Most of these, they are used at higher level beyond packages, right? So for now, that is what you're going to cover in maths and trigonometric function. Now we want to shift our focus on what you call statistical function, the second category. Now we're going to have to cover a lot in statistical function. Think about this. When you analyze the data like student performance, you're going to really need to use statistical function. When you go out in the field to carry out a research, and then you want to analyze that research and come up with conclusions. Take for instance, when you're gearing toward elections, there are companies that normally do polls to determine at any given moment if the citizens went into voting, which of the aspirants, presidential candidate would win. So what they do is they go out, they collect the data, they interview or talk to people, they collect data about who's their favorite candidate, and then they gather that data, they insert it in Excel or another program, they analyze it. Now they analyze it using statistical function, right? So they analyze the data and then they determine who would the percentages of voting for a given for all the aspirants. They determine how much each presidential aspirant would get if at that point or at that particular time people went into voting. So that is what research is. You collect data, you analyze it, and you come up with a very specific conclusions. And so we want to dive into statistical function and we want to see how they work. We are going to be using our data here, so we will not delete it, but we are going to delete this data here. Let's click and highlight the data, and then we delete it. So now here, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to look for average. Now look at Michael. Assuming we want to know the average performance of Michael, we are going to have to use statistical functions. In this case, we use a function called average. So let's type there average, okay, and then there we can type maximum function, which is normally called max, and then at that point we can have minimum, and then at that point we can have mod, and then at that point we can have median. All these are statistical functions that you can use. Let's start with the average. So we want to calculate the average performance of these specific students. So you select where you want to place your answer, and then you go to more functions and then statistical. Just point at statistical, crossover, and come to average. We're interested in average, so I click average. Here we are. The function argument dialog box opens up. I want to move it away from my work so that it doesn't block where our answer is being entered. So how do you drag it? We learned how to drag a given window. You bring your mouse pointer at the top, you click, hold down the left mouse button, and then you move your mouse and it will drag it. So let's position it somewhere like there. All right, so now here what you're supposed to choose is the range. So I'm going to delete what's there in the number here, and then the range is I want from here all the way. I'm holding down the left mouse button to drag and select all the way up to that point. The range will be entered here. Remember, the range, we call it argument, to be entered there. Then I click OK. There you go. So on average, this student performance was 73.33. Let's do for this student. Click where you want to answer. You go to more functions. You come to statistical, cross over to the other side, look for average. This is average. You click average, and you highlight where the range of cells that have the data you want to calculate. Click the first cell, and then you drag, hold it down the left mouse button up to that point, and that is it. And then you click OK. So that student average performance was, let me scroll, that was James. Average performance was 70.6. By the way, average is what we normally call mean score. when we are rating students or pupils' performance. All right, we go to the next. It's the same procedure. And just like we learned how to autofill, once you do one, you can autofill the rest. So to avoid repeating these routine tasks for the rest of the students, I can just autofill. I will click the answer right here, and I'll bring my mouse pointer at the bottom right corner. It will change to a plus sign. It's just a plus, and then I'm going to click and hold down the left mouse button, and then you drag, and you get the rest calculated. So that is exactly how you calculate average. Now let's calculate for maximum. What is maximum? Basically, this formula returns, or this function returns, the maximum value out of the values selected. So we want to calculate the maximum value. How do we do it? It's very simple. Go to more functions, statistical, then look for M. Remember, they are arranged in alphabetical order, so we are looking for M, and here it is, max. And you told returns the largest value in a set of values, ignores logical values and text. So it's supposed to pick a range of values and pick the most highest. So what are our values we want to pick? By the way, what are we looking here for? You can use it especially if you want to know which subject, or among the subjects that Michael had to do, which one was the highest, which one did he get the highest return. In this case, you want to know the highest marks, so you can use maximum to get that. So you click there, that's the starting point of the range, that are the starting point of the range of cells that contains the data we want to manipulate, and then you drag, hold it down the left mouse button, you drag up to that point. Do not include the average. Average is not part of it, so you want to make sure you get to where we have geography. You release it, and then you click OK. 96, that tells you the highest marks Michael ever scored was 96. Then you can drag for the rest. The highest marks for James was 98. The highest marks for Arizona was 80. The highest marks for Samson was 93, and the highest marks for Melvin was 95. That is how you use marks. Then you might want to know the lowest marks that student scored, and in that case, use a function called minimum, and minimum will give you the lowest value among a list of values. So we click there. That is where we want to have our answer placed, and then you go to more functions. Of course, you should make sure you pick formulas menu. You go to more functions, then you come down to statistical, you move a crossover, and you scroll down. We are looking for a minimum. It's normally labeled mean, and here it is. You click mean, and you choose the range. This is Michael, so we want from this range of cell. Hold it down the left mouse button, you drag up to where we have G3, and then you click OK, and there you go. So the lowest marks Michael scored was 48, and you can see the 48 here. The highest marks was 96, and you can see the 96 here. Now let's click our answer, and let's autofill. Click, you do drag, autofill, and you can tell James also had the lowest marks, which was that was 36. We had Arizona 59, we had Samson 50, and Melvin 56. So minimum will pick for you the lowest value, and when you check those marks, you're going to realize that Excel is correct. Then we have mode. Let's say, for instance, you are looking for a given student whether there are certain subject that student scored exactly the same, and you want to know the number of subjects in which the student scored alike. That is now where you use mod. Mod is the most repeated value. So if there are several subjects in which the student scored alike, and you want to know what was that score, then you can use mod. So let's do it. Click where you want your answer. You go to formulas, then you go to more functions, you go to statistical, and then you're looking for mod. Again, they are alphabetically arranged, so we're looking for M. Then in the mod, what you're going to find here is this mod multiple. And what does it say? It returns a vertical array of the most frequently occurring, a repetitive of values in an array of range of data. For horizontal array, use transpose mod. All right. And then we have single mod or mod single, returns the most frequently occurring or repetitive value in an array or range of data. So we're going to use mod single. So click mod single, and then we pick the array or the range of data from here all the way to that point, and then you click OK, and you are told NA. Now NA means not applicable. Not applicable means there is no value that is commonly repeated, meaning there are no subject that student scored the same or alike, and that's what not applicable means. Let's drag. Let's see whether we have any student who has a number of subjects in which the student scored alike and what was the marks. There you go. We only have one here, 59. And you notice when you check for Arizona, you check maths was 59, we have 78 biology, and chemistry 59. So 59 appears several times. That's why we have 59 here as our mod, and that is how you calculate for mod. Right. Now let's go to probably second or that the last bit on statistical function, and that is median. Okay, median, what are you looking for? Let's see what that function does. First of all, you click where you want to answer, then you go to formulas menu, and then you go to more functions, and then you go to statistical crossover. Let's look for M, median. You're looking for M, and here it is. So you point at it and you're told it returns the median or the number in the middle of a set of given numbers. Okay, so in a set of numbers, the number that's in the middle, that is what you call median, and that is what this function returns. So let's pick a range from there all the way to there, and then you click OK. Now what happens if there's no median? For instance, how many subjects do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So among the 6, we only have 3 on one side and 3 on one side, so you cannot find 1 in the middle. If we had 7 subjects, Excel would count the first subject, second subject, third subject, then the fourth one would be the one in the middle, because we would have the first 3 and then the one in the middle and then the last 3, because there would be 7. Since there are not 7, we have 6. What the system does is it will pick the 2 that are in the middle, add them up, and then find the average. And that average is what it will present as the median. That's why in this case we have this we have 74. All right, We can drag this. Let's drag it. There you are. And that's the median for the rest of this student marks. So that is statistical function: average, maximum, minimum, mode, median. Now I want to show you probably one more, actually two more. So I want to delete all that. But before we do that, I want you to pause this video lesson at that point, and I want you to take a few minutes to practice doing that. Is, if you are not coming along with me, take a few minutes, practice working with maths trigonometric function, what you've just done a few minutes ago, and practice working with statistical function. So pause the video lesson, go ahead, do your practice, then you resume this video lesson and you're going to pick from there. I'll give you a few minutes. Welcome back. I believe that you've done practice on that. So let's dive in again and let's finish up with statistical function. I want to show you two more statistical function, and then from there we are going to shift our focus on logical functions. So I'm going to click there and I'm going to delete this. All right. And I want to show you a function that we call count. Let's type. It's one of the statistical function. Before I show you how count works or how to apply that formula, I want us to look at where can we use count. Now, I want you to think of a situation whereby, let's say for instance, you want to know the number of subjects student Michael scored below 50. Okay. You want to know the number of subjects these students scored below 50, and since you have a lot of students and you want to know all those students, how many subjects did they score below 50, you don't have time to go looking for each student marks. You want to run a function that will basically tell you, for a given student, these are the number of subjects these students scored. These students scored below 50. In that case, use a function called COUNTIF. Actually, it's COUNTIF. So let's add if there. It's COUNTIF. We shall come back to count. Let's first do COUNTIF. It's COUNTIF. So it will count specific number of subject or specific number of cells that contain values that have a specific criteria or based on specific criteria. Let me show you how this one works. So let's say we want to be able to figure out how many subjects these students scored below 50. Okay, so to do that, you click there and then you go to more functions and then you go to statistical function and then you look for count if. So let's scroll. COUNTIF is here, so click COUNTIF. There's the function. Range, where or which range of cells is Excel supposed to look for the data you are checking? It's supposed to look for that data from here all the way up to this point, because we are analyzing Michael scores and we want to know the number of subjects Michael scored below 50. So you come here under criteria, you click there, and then you enter less than 50. That is the criteria, that is the condition. In other words, we are telling Excel, if you check that range of cells and you find in a cell that has less than 50 in terms of value, I want you to count the number of those cells. By counting the number of those cells, you get to know the number of subject that student scored below 50. So let me pull out or pull up my keyboard. I want to show you how to apply the condition. I'm going to push it up. So here we are on criteria. You're supposed to enter less than 50. Less than 50 means it's below 50. Okay, the performance below 50. So less than sign, where is it? This is where you get less than sign, but you have to activate shift since less than is here. Okay, so you click shift and then you click less than sign. You want to make sure that your cursor is here under criteria, so you click less than and then you can type in 50. You enter 50 and that is it. Let me pull down the keyboard. So if entered less than 50, then you click OK. And Excel tells you that only one subject did Michael score below 50. That subject was physics. Notice physics is 48. Then you can drag for the rest. Let's see. There you go. So only 2 students had one subject in which they scored below 50, and that was Michael and Harrison. The rest, they had above 50 in terms of score. All right. These are different criteria. Delete this. Let's assume that you want to know the number of subjects these students scored 80 and above. 80 and above, not above 80. 80 and above, or let's say 75 and above, which is good performance. So good to use count. You click where you want to answer and then you go to formulas menu, you go to more functions, cross over to statistical, cross over to the other side, and we are looking for count if. So let's scroll here, you click count if. Here we are. So the range, this is the range from B3 all the way to G3. Then from there you want to enter the criteria here. The criteria is we want those students that are performed 75 and above. We want to know the number of subject a student performed 75 and above. Let me pull up my keyboard, and here's my keyboard. So I click there, I make sure that the cursor is, or the blinking part of the cursor is on criteria, and then this is the greater than sign, but we are not going to enter greater than 75, because if we do, Excel is going to pick above 75. We want to pick 75 and above. So in that case, first of all, you enter equal sign, okay, and then you pick greater than sign. Now to pick greater than sign here, you have to press shift, hold down shift, and then you click that greater than sign, and then from there you type in 75 on your keyboard. You type 75. So what this means is, this means 75 and above. So the 75 is inclusive, 75 and above, and then we can pull this one down and then you click OK. There you go. So you get this no subject these students score 75, and I think we might be wrong because we have what we have here. We have 78, we have 96, and we have 89, and all those are above 75. So let's see what might be wrong. Let's see, something might have gone wrong. So let's go to all right, let's see what could have gone wrong. So we have 70, 89. Let's do it again. So we go to mass trigonometry. Let's go to count if. Sorry, we go to more functions, statistical, we cross over, we scroll until we go to count if. Let's see, range, it's from here all the way to here. And let's see, right, let's first use the greater than sign and then equal sign. Remember, we entered equal sign and then greater than sign, and that could have been our greatest mistake. That's probably why it didn't work. That is what we entered. Let's start with the equal sign. Sorry, let's start with the greater than sign followed by the equal sign. Let's see what we get. So I pull my keyboard up and I pick greater than sign. So I hold down shift, then I pick greater than sign. Sorry, you should make sure that you activate the criteria. The cursor should be here. So you hold down shift, then you click greater than sign, and then you click equal sign, and then you enter 75. What this means is the student should perform or should get 75 and above. The 75 is inclusive. Then you pull down this keyboard and then you click OK, and there you go. So according to Excel, this student has 3 subjects in which the student scored 75 and above. Let's see whether that is true. We have 78 in geography, fits our criteria. We have 96 in chemistry, fits our criteria, and we have 89 in biology. So those are the 3 subjects in which that student scored 75 and above, and we can autofill for the rest of the students to really figure out how many subjects these students scored 75 and above. Let's do that. So come down here, you click here, you look at your bottom right corner. You position your mouse pointer where we have that dot, you click and then you drag, and there you go. So you have James having scored 2 subjects 75 and above. You have Harrison having scored 3 subjects 75 and above. And you can always confirm. You will notice this is 75, you will notice this is 80, and you will notice this is 78. So there are three subjects. Harrison scored 75 and above. We can also check for Samson. This is Samson. Samson has 2 subjects, and one of it is this one, physics. Samson scored 83, and we have 82. That is maths. Samson scored 82. So this one also fits the criteria. And then we have Melvin 2 subject, and that is English. He scored 95, and then we have 78 for physics. So basically, that is how you can use count if to be able to determine for a given set of students who scored how many subjects a student scored a given or a specific marks and above. That is how you use count if. Now lastly, let me show you how you use count before we wind up on this lesson. So we're going to type in counting, and count really counts specific cells that has let's say for instance we want to know we want to pick the number of cells. First of all, let's look at the count and let's see what it gives us. The count function, we go to more functions, then you come to statistical, and then just point at count, and it will tell you it counts the number of cells in a range that contain numbers. Okay, so the job of this function will pick the number of cells that have numerical values. It will only count those cells. The ones that don't have anything, they will not be counted. So let's see how this one works. Let's say for instance, let's remove let's do away with that 64 there, and let's do away with, of course, for now we know that How many cells here have values? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you run count on this range of cells, it is going to give you 6. Why? There are only 6 cells that contain numeric values. Let's try and see. If I click that cell and I go to more functions, and then I go to statistical, and then I pick count, and then I pick that range up to that point, and then I click OK. The answer is going to be 6y. There are only 6 cells that contain numeric values. But what if I remove one of those values? Let's say if I remove 64, notice now the value changes to 5. Why? There are only 5 cells within the range I have selected that contain numeric values, which is this cell, this cell, this cell, this cell, and this cell. So basically, count is simple. It counts the number of cells that contain numeric values. And those are what we call statistical function. We have maximum, we have minimum, we have mode, we have average, what we call mean score, we have count if, and we have count. Of course, there are other statistical functions that you can apply or that are found under statistical function. There are many of them, but like I said, most of these are used in complex analysis of data, and so we are not going to be diving into every single one of all these. If you're doing data analysis, that is when you use all this, but at this point we are not focused on data analysis. We just want to know how to use Excel to perform simple calculation for our day-to-day operations. So what I want you to do in this lesson is I want you to take your time and I want you to practice how to perform those calculations. Now before we wind up, I want us to do one more thing, and that is I want to show you how to insert a chart in a given chart that represents the performance of the student. So what you're going to do is I'm going to clear all this. Let's clear all this. I delete it. Let's say we want to come up with a chart that represents this data. How do you come up with that chart? In Excel, working with chart or creating a chart is more easier than it is in Word. In fact, extremely easy. All you need to do is you select the data that you want to show in your chart. So I click and I select that data up to, first of all, we need to fill out what's missing there, and that was 64. So now we select this data. Let's click somewhere there. We want to place our chart there, and so we select this data. And when you're selecting the data, you don't include the heading of this heading here. You only select where the data that you want to be represented in the chart is. Okay, so you click there and then you drag. You click and then you click and then you drag up to that point, and then you go to insert, and then you go to column chart, and here we are. Now notice there are different charts here that you can use. You can use line chart, pie chart. Probably in the next lesson I'll show you how to use pie chart and where pie chart is used, and maybe we will do a few more calculations, and then from there we'll go to probably the final part of Excel. So this is where you pick your chart. If you pick column chart, remember what you said yesterday. In this case, every student has cluster subject. So when you pick something like a column chart, you have to pick in all these categories of charts, it has to be a column chart. So you can use it has to be a cluster chart. So you can use 2D cluster chart, or we can use this 3D cluster chart, or we can use the cylinder chart as long as it's cluster, or we can use the cone chart as long as it's cluster. Let's go with the cylinder. You click the cylinder, and there you are, you get your chart. So you notice it's very fast. It's not like in Word whereby you had to fill a lot of information. With Excel, it's easy. And now you have your chart. You have your chart here, and this chart is a representation of data in the data that you just entered. So to move the chart around, I need to click the chart. I'll come at the edge of the chart here. I'll hold down the leftmost button, and then I can drag down the chart. And there you go. So this is your chart, and it's that simple. So what you're going to notice is everything that we had in Excel, sorry, everything that you had in Word, you get to see that chart legend. This is the chart legend here. You get to see the chart area. You get to see the plot area. That's the plot area. Everything that you saw in the Microsoft Word chart that you created, it's all here. The only difference is here, creating a chart, very simple. Highlight the data, click the chart, and you are set. You are good to go. Let's do one more thing here, and then you wrap up this lesson, and that is we are going to give this chart a title. So to give the chart a title, you click the chart, and then you go to select the chart, and then you go to layout, just like we did in MS Word, and then you go to chart title. You click chart title, then you pick above chart, and then you type the title of the chart. Let's call this chart student performance. I'm not sure whether we are in the right thing, so let's call it student performance. Click away, and there you are. So the chart is called student performance. So that is how you work with Excel. So I want you to take your time, do a good practice in what you've covered in this lesson, and then when we meet in the next lesson, I'm going to show you slightly different types of calculations, and then we are going to look into what we call a pie chart and a line chart, and then from there we are going to be proceeding toward the end of Excel. So for now, I want you to take your time, and I want you to practice working with Excel, and I will see you in the next video lesson.